Welcome to the Tech Convo podcast with me, your host today, Chims.
And your co-host, Sai. I'm glad to have you guys. Today we have something interesting in the bag for you. We're basically doing lifestyle. So it's a topic that affects everyone. I know this is the Tech Convo podcast and people are expecting us to just be talking code, but today we're basically talking about e-commerce.
Yeah.
Something that everyone is knows in one way or another and sort of is involved in.
Yeah. And we would also love you to be part of the conversation in the comment section. Because like we've said, it's Tech Convo and not just a conversation between the two people, but with you guys as well.
Yeah.
So to kick it off, we'll start with a question, which I also want you guys to answer to, but I'll ask Simon here. Why do people in Zambia, specifically Zambia here, prefer to buy things from Facebook Marketplace, WhatsApp groups instead of websites like e-commerce websites?
Okay. So when you say e-commerce websites, do you mean overseas?
Both is overseas and local websites. So when we talk of overseas, obviously we are talking about eBay, Amazon.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a good thing that people prefer to buy from social media platforms as opposed to e-commerce websites or platforms. I think it is so because of trust. I'm narrowing things down here. I think it's all because of trust. People have built a huge amount of trust with purchasing things that way. I'll just backtrack a little bit to maybe 2011 or so when we had the Amazon page created by, I don't know who that guy is. If you do know who that guy is, please do mention in the comment section. So we had this page called Let's Talk Amazon. It was a group. I think later on they even had pages, but then it was mainly groups. So you had to be a member of that group, and then once you're a member, you just put up your listing as a post because Facebook wasn't a marketplace at the time.
Yeah.
So you put up your listing as a post, and then people would engage. You'd engage with the people in the comment section, or they would inbox, and then you'd arrive at a deal, and then once that has been done, you'd maybe meet up with a person. It wasn't even a maybe, you would meet up with a person because there wasn't as much trust, as we didn't have much couriers back then.
Yeah.
There was no Yango, there was no Udendo, none of that such, and there was no trust. You wouldn't just give your device to a random taxi driver to what are you trying to do exactly?
Yeah.
What? Yes. So we had that back in the day. We had a lot of people jump onto that. I think after that, a lot of other pages similar to Let's Talk Amazon were made. We had Let's Talk Amazon, Copper Build, we had Let's Talk Amazon in the various provinces. So I think it's something that everyone just got used to, and they built a trust with the people in those lines. The buyer and the seller, built that trust. So we'd meet up with the people. Fast forward to now, it still starts with social media.
Yeah.
So someone is online on social media, you're able to talk to them instantly, and therefore it's one, convenient, two, it's again, I'll just point to trust again. Those are the two things: convenience and trust. I'm not going to order something from, let's say, eBay from the US on eBay because it's going to take 2 weeks for me to reach. At least that is what my experience is. I know things get here earlier, but I'm not going to spend 2 weeks waiting for something that I can have today, especially if it's an emergency. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to maybe spend more, but get the thing from here, which is a win on my side. Maybe not on the amount or on the money I'm spending, but definitely on the time, because these days time is money. Yeah. So I think that is why. It's because of trust, and also because of convenience.
I love the point that you've raised that a culture that we developed because of the social media groups like Amazon and other groups with similar agendas. So that has shaped us into trusting these platforms to be used for marketing and buying products rather than websites. And I think it also comes down to how slow we develop as a country as well, because we are still adapting to certain technology. But then we were on social media back then and we got used to it. Yeah, that's like a valid point.
Do you think I've left out? Let me just ask you the same question. Why do you think it is so? Why do you think people prefer to use online marketplaces like Instagram, Facebook Market, WhatsApp, TikTok?
Yeah,
as opposed to using e-commerce platforms?
One of the reasons is we are already present on social media platforms. So we have a group of people who are present on Facebook, very active, And so those people and the sellers are all engaging on the platform. Point number 2 is lack of marketing from the founders of e-commerce companies. If we were to go out and start walking in the street and ask people questions like, how many e-commerce platforms do you know that are Zambian owned and you can get things right here from Zambia? You'd find that people are not aware of a lot of platforms. So that's one of the things. And thirdly, I can also talk about payment. So when it comes to payment, a lot of online platforms use things like cards, bank cards, which a lot of people are a bit skeptical using online, and they feel like, oh, my card will not be safe if I use it on an online purchase. Yeah, that's one of the things. 2, not everyone uses cards. People these days use mobile money. Yeah. That's the reason why platforms like Kiko has kind of become popular. If you go in the community,
What is Kiko?
There's an app where people order things from, I don't know if it's China but it's becoming a bit popular in these communities. Like I've heard a lot of people using Kiko, and I've tried it before to order something. Something about Kiko, it has made payment easier because we use mobile money.
Kiko is not Zambian, is it?
No, I don't think it is Zambian. If it's Zambian, then I kind of feel like it's Zambian, and then these people just get things for you from suppliers and then bring them to you. So you don't even look for suppliers. You just go there and then things are listed down, and then you can get, and then they deliver them to you.
Okay, so who delivers them? Do they have a hub here where they?
Yes, they have offices. Like there's one in Charleston. I think the first time I went to Charleston, and then there's one somewhere in what's that road again? Near Zisco there.
The one that goes to Levy.
Yes. And not the one that goes Makishi. Yeah. So you can easily go and collect your item from there, or they can even deliver to using couriers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm checking out they have a website.
Yeah, and also an application.
And an application as well. And this is good. Yeah, I think we should sort of adapt to the way maybe they have marketed this, because they're including the Zambian way of paying, because the majority of Zambians use mobile money.
Yeah.
And if I'm not going to go through the stress of having a bank card and, put in the security code or security number, all that, going through all that trouble, if it saves me that trouble, then I'm up for it, because it's a win on my side when it comes to convenience. Yes. So they both have the website, good for website users. They have the application. I haven't checked it yet, because I'm looking at the website now. It's quite good. Clean as well.
Yeah, very.
This one saying it's likely not Zambian. But posing to be. Anyway, for the market,
Market, yeah.
Yeah.
Zambian developers will come for us. These conversations that we have in Z programmers, like people are talking about building e-commerce platforms. So I think they can get a few points from platforms like it.
I think someone pointed out, like, there's a good chance of e-commerce making it big in Zambia.
Yeah.
I just look at the post and I was like, but how many have tried? And I'm not looking down on like the Zambian people, but it's just how they execute things. A lot of platforms have come up, e-commerce platforms. I was once involved in a startup that wanted to do an e-commerce platform.
Yeah.
Died out before it even started. Because when you start, you realize there are a lot of things to do. And then, because when you thinking about it is just like an idea, it's just like, oh, wow, nice. But then when you start doing it, you realize there's a lot that goes in. Even integrating mobile money payments like Kiko did, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of money. And then there needs to be funders. Obviously, there's a way you can include all those things in a cheaper way. But I guess people don't want to think. I'm not shooting at anyone.
Yeah.
But if you could think of simpler ways to implement things in an effective way, it would be a win, even as you're starting out.
You're starting out, yes. That's a very good point. And I think a lot of developers should take note of certain things. Like there are a lot of hurdles that you are going to come across as you try to build an e-commerce platform exam. One of them is the market as it gets adapted. And that's the reason why this person might have said that there's a big opportunity. Because it's kind of something that a lot of people have tapped into and moved out. But then one thing that I can say is Zambians have can change if we train them.
Yeah.
We have to condition. What conditioned us to buying things on Facebook Marketplace or TikTok and Instagram is the fact that there were all these groups, like you mentioned before, and people had already developed a culture of posting items and people reach out to your inbox or the comment section, and then you get to make a beanie and you go and meet at Iringa Mall or you meet at Society Business Park, because those are the places where you usually,
So
for example, puts it on the bike and it comes to you.
I'm just looking at another site here, Tigure. Is it a website? I think it's a page because I can't find the website, but there was a website. Yeah.
I think I've heard of it before.
Yeah. Like an online platform. A lot of the ones you check up, if you Google best e-commerce websites in Zambia, they're like dead. And they're like, the websites are just hanging because of the subscription that they made with the domain.
Yeah.
And then when you try to do something, I looked up, I was showing you that I literally, before I could say, they were telling me that no items are like.
Oh, yeah, the one that we looked at before recording this.
Yeah. So I was looking at the website, Zambian, it's an e-commerce website. Before I could even search for something, they were telling me it's not. But how do you launch something, expect it to work, and then you haven't put up items for people to buy? I do not know. I guess we need to use magic.
So let me ask you a question. When we talk of social media platforms, we have Facebook Marketplace, we have TikTok, we have Instagram and WhatsApp groups. Which of these do you think is dominant in Zambia?
From the looks of things, and I think we had this conversation earlier.
Yeah.
From the looks of things, you'd think Facebook or TikTok. Because there are a lot of people there who do things. Facebook because it's always been there, so you'd think there people are doing things. But then surprisingly, I was looking at statistics. These metrics, they were actually saying Instagram. People are making more money on Instagram than on any other Facebook, social media platform. I was surprised. But then I guess it's to do with because you know how a lot of people are on Facebook.
Yeah.
But they don't really buy.
Yeah.
It's like you see a listing and they're like, how much is this? Once you just respond to them, they just like dip. They right away. They never come back. They're like, okay, I'll do with you. Let me just and then maybe one of the first things, like you said, is do you have a physical store?
Yeah.
All those things. So I think Facebook has that flow where people do not really trust the person unless they need to meet up with them.
Yeah.
Instagram, I don't know how it's done. I think one of the things we mentioned this again is it's for the rich kids.
Yeah.
Like the audience. The audience there is sort of like, I'll just say it, bougie. I think that's one of the reasons. I think you mentioned your friend.
Yeah, I was talking about David. He was telling me that he doesn't sell much on Facebook and TikTok, but he sells more on Instagram. So he says whenever he puts up an item, a lot of buyers from Instagram are serious. Like they'll just say, how much is this? To tell them the price. And then when you go on Facebook, according to him, whatever price he puts up, people are trying to negotiate. So it's like Facebook has got that kind of negotiation culture. Yeah. So it's like when you go to a shopping mall or when you go to a boutique, you'll find something and they tell you the price, you're just going to get it. But when you go to somebody at a Kemba, you find something that you really like, they tell you the actual price. You
want to bring it down.
Yeah, so it's like the same culture. So it's like Facebook over Soweto or something.
The slums.
Yeah, so
it's wild.
Yeah. So it's kind of also the culture.
Right.
But for me, I think I've done purchases through Facebook, not much on Instagram. But I think I've done through Facebook, and I've also connected with some sellers through TikTok as well, because I love the creativity that people are bringing in when they advertise them on TikTok.
Yeah, very creative. It's a good thing. It's a win on the e-commerce side, but I just wish there were more, because yes, it's good for business generally because you're making money. But then if you think of it, you can only create more jobs, like a win for the whole country at large, if there is an e-commerce company, as opposed to maybe doing everything through Mark Zuckerberg or doing everything through them. Because then it's just the interaction between it's convenient, but then one, you do not have sort of insurance. If you had the mediator, sort of like, I'll just say it, if there's a company in between, standing between you and the buyer, you have someone to stand in between you in case something goes wrong. Yeah, which is a good thing. So if you have someone in between to do that for you, it's a win for both you and the client, because there's trust for the person doing the business, the seller, they're able to be trusted, and then you as a buyer are able to trust them. So there's that relationship if there's someone in between, as opposed to if you're doing something directly on Facebook. Let's say I meet up with someone, I'm selling a phone, I get that phone, I won't be in contact with that person. There's no guarantee when that person can leave Zambia for all I care, and they'll never care. Yeah, there's that liability isn't there when it comes to two-way transactions. So if there's someone in the middle, it's a win for both parties, the buyer and the seller. And take a look at this. If we have e-commerce platforms, that means it's a full-fledged, like a full company. That means there's members of staff, people getting paid because of the e-commerce platform, which will do good for the Zambian economy, if you ask me. This way, we're benefiting everyone. The company, the country at large, as opposed to having just maybe social media. And I'm not shooting down social media. It's quite good, quite convenient. But when it comes to security, e-commerce, customer protection, all those things.
So what would make us Zambians go and start purchasing on e-commerce platforms as opposed to just making a deal to link up at Uingamo?
Or business society pack. Yeah, I think... I think we need to train ourselves, not training ourselves, because that's not just going to happen, obviously. We need to train. There needs to be a paradigm shift of how we view things as Zambians. You know how we switched from using Facebook groups to sell things to the actual Facebook market. It's because it was introduced, So there's a product that was ready, the Facebook market, and then all you had to do is just jump on it and begin to utilize it. Same thing on the market, the Zambian market. If we have a website or an e-commerce platform that is readily available, and not things that I was seeing here, where if I search for something, it's telling me that they don't have, before I even search, they're telling me they don't have products. If we have a readily available product, good to go, everything is in check. If you ask me, I can go there, but then it needs to be, that means there's little things that they need to do to just convince me, because the product is already there. Mark Zuckerberg did not have to start foreseeing you. Okay, technically they did, but the product was already available before they made you, move to the Facebook marketplace. That's one of the things. So they need to make sure their products are top tier, like worthy of competition. You can't compete with mediocre things. Second thing, marketing. We talked about this when the video was beginning. I'm just going to go a bit in depth here. It is the core of things. We talked about personality. Trust is only gained by knowing the person, their personality, on all those things. Brings me to branding and marketing. You need to position the company in a way that people are able to build trust with it. At the end of the day, that is branding. Branding is not just the logo, MTN is red, is yellow, Airtel is red. That's not branding. That's part of branding. Actual branding is building a relationship with the customer, the consumer. Are they able to trust you? Have you given them an experience and not just a transaction? They need to say, oh, okay, when I went to this store, this online store, this e-commerce platform in Zambia, I was treated in this particular way, and therefore I'm going back there again. I'm not going to order from eBay. I'll order from the Zambian e-commerce store because they served me in this manner. They were convenient in this particular way. And yes, we talked about this again. We talked about a lot of things, guys, before recording. We talked about costs also. I talked about, yes, there are a lot of things that can go into, that may need to go into marketing, money-wise. But then you do not necessarily have to start out big. You can always start out small. I'll give an example of maybe a startup trying to, okay, I won't give an example in those lines, but I would say maybe, for example, how Z Mobile did it. How they came up with the launch, how they made noise, all those things. It was something that was new, but people were able to jump on it because of how they put because of how they put themselves out. If you could do the same for you, doesn't matter on what scale, eventually to grow. But I think those are the steps one should take, as opposed to just having something and then you expect people just don't come these days. You need to push them to come. and that comes to marketing and branding. Yeah. What do you think?
I think, like you said, marketing firstly. I think that's the most important thing. Another thing that I've observed with e-commerce platforms, the way most of them get marketed, it's more of targeting the rich people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've observed this.
I think, okay, then I'm going to not argue. We don't argue here. It's an opinion, right?
Yeah.
I think target market is not a problem. It's how you put it out. So if I'm selling things if I'm targeting rich people, it's how I target them. If I'm targeting, I don't want to say poor people. If I'm targeting people of a lesser status, it's how I approach them also.
But
So-
then my point also is, if I want to change the narrative, the masses are from the compounds. So you find that a lot of campaigns do not target those people. If they are going to use influencers, they don't even use influencers who are going to speak to those people. You get my point. Let's look at how these guys came in. If there was a company that was dominant in cabs, online taxi, and then another company came in, and when they came in, there was Orlando.
Yeah.
Some people from the hoods never even had the app on the phone. Yeah. But then the moment Yango came in, Yango kind of hit everyone, and now every single person has got the red app on their phone. So it's how they targeted those people.
Yeah.
And they've even changed our culture around how we get on cabs. Nowadays, no one goes to a taxi rank to look for a vehicle and say, so everyone knows that just here, I can type papa, and then the vehicle would come to me. Same applies to ordering food. Now people are into ordering food. And you can even see some people, they're even riding bikes. So you've seen that there's this movement where everyone has been engaged rather than selecting a side.
Yeah.
So I don't know how e-commerce platforms can try to do so. I've seen this. E-commerce platforms come off as if they're selling things that only people who live in certain places then access. But if we are looking at Zambia as a country, let's look at the people. So this now would even your interface. You know that I'm not building this for highly technical people.
Yeah. This has been fun, guys. We're just going to end it here. We'll probably do another episode of the same, depending on your feedback and how this video does. So thank you so much for watching. Peace out.